So hello guys, I hope you're doing fine where you are. Yes, so recently from last year 2023 to now 2024, we've had a surge of many African leaders coming forward and confronting imperialism in Africa. We first saw with Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso. Now, I want you to listen to what this man is going to say, because he is complaining that Africans are preparing for war with Europe, and he's urging Europe to be ready for a war. The reasons he's giving will blow your mind. I want us to watch this video, and then I'll give you my thoughts towards the end of the video, where we will have a critical analysis. Let's dive in.
If you've been on TikTok for a while, you must have heard about a ton of Africans telling you that Europeans stole Africa's resources. Now, there's a lot to say about that. First and foremost, most of these resources are still in Africa, and they're not being stolen by Europeans. They're actually being sold to Europeans by the African state leadership. Your own elites are robbing you. It's not us doing it. Not anymore. The real issue, of course, is why aren't Africans using their own resources to do things? Why does Mr. Beast have to go to Kenya to build water wells? Why didn't the Kenyan government do it themselves? I suppose the Kenyan government could have done it themselves. They just chose not to do it. Nigeria is now a country of almost 220 million people, the largest country in Africa. But they only produce about 10% of the electricity that a small country like Hungary. Hungary only has 10 million people, but they produce 10 times as much electricity as Nigeria does. I mean, I know you want to have your Wakanda, right? But do you expect white people to give it to you? No, you're supposed to build it yourself. Having said all this, it is of course obvious that we Europeans in the north need to prepare for a possible, potential African rise in terms of technology and therefore also in terms of military capacity.
These three countries came together and they worked towards the liberation of their countries from French imperialism. Turns out that the uranium in Niger is what powers France, which means France is like a parasite to Africa. And in order for a parasite to exist, there has to exist also a host. Now the African countries have been host, and the imperialists have been parasites for quite some time now, you know. So these people decided, no, I know you know the story. Now these people decided, no, we want to do away with this, you know. And also the other day we saw the First Lady of Sierra Leone. She made a very impactful speech about imperialism and the need for African unity and the need for Africa liberty and freedom and decolonization. I'd rather call it the neo-colonization, because even though the white person left, even though the imperialist left, let me call him the imperialist, not the white person. Even though the imperialist left, they came back with another mode of rule. Is what now we call imperialism. Neo-colonialism. So Africans have been rising. People have been talking this and that. YouTubers have been speaking. People are waking up, you know. And somebody somewhere is worried about the waking up of Africans. They're so much worried because they have exploited Africa for a very long time, and now Africa is requesting for liberty. Africa is requesting for them to live, and some people are interpreting this as war, you know. We've also seen some other European countries such as Russia. Russia is helping in the liberation of African countries from neo-imperialism. This tells you something. Neo-imperialism has no space in today's world. And Russia is the only superpower that never colonized Africa. They never put their hands on Africa. Not that they didn't have what it takes to. They had. The USSR was a very powerful dynasty. It was a powerful organization. It was a powerful government back then. But they never put their hand on Africans. They only put their hands while helping, you know. And so this white man is complaining, and I don't think he's having a just complaint. The complaints he's making are not wise. Just because somebody is standing up for their rights does not make somebody ready for war, or does not make somebody call for war. You know, the uranium, the platinum, the gold, the diamond that has always been in Africa, has always been mined, has always been exploited. Our natural resources are being exploited by the West, you know. And now that Africans are speaking against it, Africans are being told that we are violent. They are being told that we are greedy. No, we ain't greedy and we ain't violent. Correction to this brother. One thing he needs to realize is this: Africans, we are not selling these things on our own selves, you know. The white person came and imposed their interests on us for a very long time. They imposed their interests on us. Their interests included, for example, in Western Africa, French had the monopoly of mining minerals. Imagine Niger was powering France, and the average person in Niger does not have electricity. Now that Niger is coming to stand against it, these people ain't so happy about it, you know, which leaves me surprised. It makes me wonder, why is it that now we are trying to prevent this war? Not war, we are trying to prevent this exploitation. Somebody is saying we are looking for war. There's no war Africans are looking for. Africans are looking for liberation. If liberation is war, then I can confidently say we are looking for war. If liberation is war, you know, the mines in Congo, people are fighting day and night in Congo. But if you dig deep, you'll find whoever is benefiting from those minerals, a few of them are really Africans. These minerals are taken from Africa, taken all the way to Congo. Like, let's say, for example, a country like Israel. Israel is a desert. Israel might not have raw materials, natural resources like diamond, but you can be told that Israel is the largest country producing diamond. Can you see how ironic it is? How can a country that does not have natural resources become a country that is now producing these natural resources? You know, I'm really surprised. Not only producing, but the leading country. They come in Africa, they steal our resources, they walk away with it, and they want Africans to keep quiet about it. I think Africans have taken a lot of this. Africans need to stand up, just like Dr. Arikana Chihumbori Kwao calls it. Africans need to realize the need for unity. A single African country cannot stop the European powers. A single African country cannot stop the European powers. Just like it is very easy to break a single branch of tree or a branch of stick, but if it is a bunch, a collection of many sticks, it's hard. That's why it is important to have a unity of Africa, a borderless policy, and Africans should not be stopped from traveling in Africa, and Africa should be having the liberty of trading, of working, of living in any African country. Like just like in the Schengen regions, these people brought the visa in order for them to work effectively in exploiting Africans, because the Berlin Conference stated clearly the sphere of influence should not be destroyed. The sphere of influence of one particular country should not be affected. There's nobody who should be seen in another person's space. The only places where the Berlin Conference stated is like the River Congo and River Zambezi. Those ones were free for them to travel, because these are rivers that were connecting East, Central and South Africa. And say, okay, the rivers, we shall share the rivers. You know, it's wrong. The visa was for them to exploit Africans effectively. The rivers, the visas, that was the main work of the visa. Otherwise, we shouldn't use the same tools they used against us on ourselves. We should work towards liberating one another. We should work towards an African should not, and I still insist, an African should not be hard. An African should not be greedy. An African should not be angry. An African should not be bad towards a fellow African in order to favor a white person. You know, now that we are standing up and fighting for our rights, we are labeled bad people. They are saying, oh, we do this, we are that, we are ready for war. No, our natural resources, we are not selling them, they are being taken. And also, the white brother made a point. You know, it's true that we have leaders. We have leaders who are corrupt. We have leaders who are puppets. But when you come to look at it, some of these leaders are leaders who've been planted by the West. You know, they've come to power because somebody has planted them there, and they have been planted by the West. You know, they are a remote tool to exploit Africans from their end. Now, as a fellow African and an African who understands the pain of fellow Africans, my point is this: Africans are not looking for war. Africans are looking for liberations. Africans are looking for peace. And if calling out the wrong things is called war, then you are looking for that war. If calling out the mistakes is war, then you are looking out for that war. So see you in the next video, where we'll have a critical analysis. Be sure to subscribe.